Hi, it's Neal Benedict from our Sandler Northwest Houston training facility. Wanted to follow up on my last video that talked about the benefit of sales training and give you some more insight into the type of individuals who typically find themselves or end up actually in your sales training. Before you invest a lot of money in training your salespeople, you have to make sure that you have the right profile of individuals that are coming to that class. So let's start by talking about the individual 4 profiles. Profile number 1 is the least desirable to send to class, and that person is considered a terrorist. A terrorist is an individual who is only at that particular sales training because their life has been threatened, meaning that, if they don't attend, they can no longer be part of the organization, or they'll suffer some other serious consequence for not going to that sales training. So you have to be careful of that particular individual, and I would recommend never sending that individual in that state of mind into sales training, because ultimately as a company, you're going to end up wasting your money. You're going to end up having a disgruntled salesperson because they'll never believe in the training, and it takes a really strong, a really special sales trainer to get that person off of their path of being a terrorist. I'm thinking of you, Troy Elmore in South Houston, but nonetheless, that person is not a person you want to send to sales training if it can all be avoided. So again, that's the number 2 is the hostage. Now the hostage is less of a problem than the terrorist is. However, the hostage also is at that class at the behest of someone else. So they don't fully buy into the idea of sales training. They probably don't fully buy into the methodology of sales training that you're trying to teach them. And hence they will just not participate as fully as they should. So and ultimately they'll be looking for the escape hatch as quickly as they possibly can, figuring out a way not to show up at sales training, figure out a way to tell you that the sales training is not adding any value to them, and ultimately, again, they see themselves as a hostage in a hostile environment. The third profile is the vacationer. Now, the vacationer probably didn't decide to sign up for the sales training on their own. However, they weren't forced to be here either. So they have a perspective that says, I'll show up, I'll invest a little bit of my time, I'll see what I can get from it, and I'll make a judgment from there. So they're willing participants, but they're only slightly willing participants at that point. Unless they can find a real clear value real early on in the sales training, they may become the hostage at some point. But generally speaking, the vacationer will come. They won't engage fully, but they'll engage. They'll look at the material. They'll take snippets of what they learn and potentially try to use them, but there won't be any consistency or any real zeal for what it is that they're learning. So the vacationer is someone that you have to be careful for as well. And number four is really where ideally you want all your salespeople in your sales training to be, and those are active learners or learners in general. Those are people that come to class prepared. They're the people who expect to get the most out of the training. They're the people who desire to have that training more than anyone else, and they're the people who will come back and tell you how much they've learned and how much they're going to go and implement that particular training. So the learner really is the ideal candidate to send to sales training because, again, your investment isn't going to be wasted. They're going to get a higher return on that investment, and they're ultimately going to go and sell more for your organization when they are a learner versus the other profiles. So again, let's recap the profiles. You've got your terrorist, who I would suggest never to send to sales training. Again, it almost never will be a positive situation either for them or you as a company. You have the hostage. Now, the hostage can be easier convinced to come on board. They almost never end up as a terrorist. But again, there are some real yellow flags to be concerned about if you think that the person who is going to the sales training is only going because someone told them to. And then the third profile, of course, is the vacationer. The vacationer, you can work with those people quite easily. A lot of times they're brought over to the learner level and they become advocates of the training. And not only advocates of the training, they actually implement the training itself and actually do quite well and see the benefits of implementing what they learn. And then, of course, you have the learner, which is your ideal profile of the salesperson that you want to send to training. So again, think about those different profiles. Think about who you have in your organization, and think about the investments you're going to be making in sales training and whether or not they make sense for the different learning styles that you'll have in your sales organization. I look forward to it, and happy selling.